Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Friends. And it was not too long ago that I was listening to a program that it featured some Nobel Prize winners. And one of them just said, he says, it is definitely the young people that are going to create some amazing change in the world. And yeah, of course, it's going to have to be the young people, right? Because the older people, we're not going to be there. But what he meant was with the consciousness that they have today and the attitude that they have and what's going on in the world. That's how I took it. And I want to tell you that I'm just really delighted tonight to interview somebody, and his name is Zion Rozier. And Zion is one of those people that I believe, and many others who know him, is one of those people who is really about creating change. And he's an artist. He's an amazing artist. He's also an entrepreneur. He's one who actually spreads messages through his work. And you're going to get to see his really extraordinary work tonight. And you're going to get to learn about his whole philosophy of life. So Zion, great to see you. And I'm just so happy that you're here with us. And I just wanted to start out by saying that you were pretty young when you realized that you had this extraordinary talent. What happened? Can you remember?
Yes. Always be hearing from my mom specifically, be like, Zion, ever since she was a little kid, for the fact to make you happy, you'll just go in the room and pick up a pencil and start drawing to your heart content.
So she saw that there was, it's kind of like musicians, young musicians, they're drumming, they want to play a guitar, whatever. You had it within you right then. Was there anybody in your family that had such talent, or are you the first?
Yes. For what I'm aware of, with my dad and when my granddad was alive, he was one of those ones that was an artist. But I don't necessarily think he was an artist to the point where he had portfolios and like going as the career as a professional artist. But I just knew that he was one of the artists in my family.
So you carry on the tradition. I want to maybe just start out. I could talk about you all night and talk to you all night, but I want to start out with showing some of your work. And we have some work here that we have you, right? So you want to say something about this?
Yes. Actually, my inspiration behind this particular painting, I had recently fell into art block. I like to say probably like a month and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And one of my little cousins, I gave a call. He was like, "Yo, Zion, what you doing today?" Know the fact that I'm an entrepreneur and I have I make the best of my time. So I was explaining my situation, and I told him that I wanted to go to like Cocoa Walk out there in South Miami. But he would mention like, "It was Zion, like you should really check out the zoo lately." So we went out to the zoo, and we went to lunch after. But the first animal that I laid eyes on was the tiger, and I decided to make a painting based off of it, due to us sharing similar characteristics, just the what it stands for: outrageous, strength, the courage, all of those things. So that's my inspiration behind this one.
Wow. I mean, the power behind the tiger, right? And the colors that you use, that's what's so intriguing to me. The bright, vibrant colors that you use. Yeah. So we could see a couple more and then we will talk and then we'll show some more. Yeah. So another animal, but maybe more gentle, right?
Yeah, this one was definitely more gentle.
And that's, look at this. Look at this beautiful thing. Look at that. Who is this? Is this someone in your life that you knew, that you
Yes.
Loved?
It's one of my close friends. She's a student at FAU, but it's a long story behind this particular drawing. My inspiration behind this one, and a couple other pieces, I actually have a series that I dedicated to using only one medium for this year, which is acrylic. So I do like basically a raffle ticket, not a raffle ticket, but like a wheel of what medium do I want to create a series based off of each year. So I can always be diverse as an artist. So this one right here, my friend London, she actually has a jewelry business. And I noticed when we was like vendors together, she'll always talk about how, and I'll obviously see how much people enjoy wearing a one of a kind jewelry around your neck, and also the fact that she's African as well. She even gave me like an explanation of like a jewelry that you put around your waist. I forgot the name of it, but that was my inspiration behind this one, as using her as a figure.
So I think that what you're saying then is there's a thought process going on. It isn't just let me paint this, incredible picture. There's something
Correct.
a bit deeper, and something that you're thinking about. And I found it fascinating when I was reading about you that you were inspired to be an artist the first time that you ever set foot in an art gallery. I think you went to an art gallery to see a demonstration, and
Yes.
something happened to you. What was that something?
Yes, like the workshop, and for particularly like the art basel, just being young, 13 years old, seeing one of my top artists that I look up to as inspiration, Kahel Riley, about those big iconic paintings of using dark skinned colored people doing iconic poses. So that is something that I saw, and of course, a lot of workshops of artists coming in the rooms and like, wow, they did this, and like I could do it too, even better, take a whole notch.
That has to be an amazing feeling, to be able to look at something and say, I can do it, but better. Because often artists, and I don't even mean just visual artists, but just it could be actors, or often feel insecure. Am I good enough? And I or can I do it? Can I succeed? And after meeting you, and I have had the chance to meet you, and I'm going to talk about that, you don't have that feeling. Is it that in your heart that you can create really good art?
Yes, I sure do.
Messages, yeah.
I sure do. If you were like wondering what that feeling feels to me, it's like anything. If I see an attractive lady, like I get like butterflies in my stomach. It's the same thing when it comes to art. Yes.
So things that you see or things that you experience, they'll end up, on a canvas somewhere. Did you have any teachers that really inspired you? I mean, was there anybody that looked at your art and said, you are really good, you better continue this?
Of course. Yes. I have many mentors. Ever since elementary, just being in the madness program of like the first madness program, if I'm not mistaken, what my mom informed me at Rainbow Park Elementary, right there, like in Opelika. It started right then and there, and just hearing the words of encouragement and, doing the background as well, it was definitely needed to hear those encouraging words, and it always stick with me. And I just always knew like art was a way for me to express myself. And most importantly, like I knew that I was unique early on, and I was proud to stand on that, despite what other people think is normal.
Yeah, well, I mean, often when people say that they want to be artists professionally, we do know that others will say you need to have another job because you don't know how stable it's going to be. Not that anything's stable in this world anymore, no career, I don't think is, or a job or whatever. But did your parent, I mean, have been parents that say that, get another job and then you can do that at night kind of thing. Did they say that to you ever? Like maybe you shouldn't be an artist or just do it as a hobby?
Yes. I'll be doing everybody disservice if I just said like I don't get no pushback. But that's the whole point of life, like having that abundance mindset. So I did like to share like my parents, for example, which I'm pretty glad. I'll definitely say after high school, graduating from Robert Morgan, there was a time where I was fixated on going to art school, and I didn't necessarily, I had like scholarships, but I didn't have like scholarships to cover like a whole 4 years worth of tuition. So I would definitely like to share, like my parents are like, yo, Zion, like you don't need art school. Like just go to a community college, which I have with Miami-Dade, and I got a 2-year scholarship, pay everything. I was part of the programs. So I paid for everything, which I was grateful for. but I was fixated on there, and that's where the pushback was like, it was Zion, like you're a little, like it's great that you have a passion for it, but you are too obsessed to the point where you're just going in it without having not like a backup plan, because I don't believe in backup plans. There's only it has to work or it has to work, but you're going into it, you don't know what you're possibly signing up yourself for, like student loans and being behind in life. So where I'm at right now, I get to really, I have only one way to go up instead of starting all the way down and trying to work my way up. Like,
it's a very, very good way to live. There's lots of books written, about this mindset that you have, teaching people how to go for it, how to pursue their dreams, how to utilize their talents. And you seem to have it naturally. Maybe you read some books, but I get the feeling that it's not all about books or being taught this, that you just have it in you, this courage, like the tiger, right? And this confidence in you. And in what way would you say that you feel that you're maybe conveying messages that are important for this time? Because I know that you've, been very adamant about the fact that you want to make a difference in the world and create change in the world. So I'm wondering, through your artwork, do you feel that you're able to convey messages like that, or change people's minds or influence people?
yes, there's like so many scenarios where I literally find out firsthand of literally what I can do when I put my mind in thinking and able to convey my feeling emotions to this canvas. And it's pretty much my superpower. I do agree. Like I get to evoke a certain emotions from people, but it's soothing for me personally. And it gives anybody that don't even like art be like so open-minded, like, yo, like Zion, what you just had, like I experienced those lifestyles, or it has something to do with my upbringing and the things that I experienced in my life. So there's certain subject meaning where my demographic, or not even my demographic, but a different race, if I may say so, like anybody can relate to. And I was just super appreciative that I could literally use my my lifetime without me actually noticing. So yes, I definitely understand that I could convey a message, and it's a wonderful, fulfilling thing that me personally, with the portfolio that I have, and I'm super appreciative. I'm not underplaying myself at all, but I barely scratched the surface of the subjects of the things that I experienced in my artwork at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Well said. I did have the chance to meet you, and I want to bring this up because this is really important. This is important. You went through a very, very big trauma when you were quite young. And you're not really afraid to talk about it. You do talk about it, but it was life-changing. And maybe if you could share it, for a little bit and explain how it changed you. I mean, of course it changed you, but maybe explain, how it changed you for the better. Yeah.
For sure. Like coming to that realization, I had to really dig deep of why I create the art I create. And I had to not judge myself. And what my community particularly, we're not oftentimes being transparent. We kind of like shed it by having a fake face in a way. But for those that are aware, like ever since I was growing up in Miami, Florida, like Opelika, I had lost one of my close friends to gun violence. And there was a time where my environment was everything, literally. Like my dad and my parents was together, but they got divorced when I was at the age of 6 as well, where there was a lot of traumatic, there was just so many other things in my mind that I thought was looking good. And literally that I felt like in the day, in the kid mind, I didn't really know better, but I was literally finding myself in everything. So those traumatic experiences that I experienced really made me look at life and be more appreciative of the fact that I can still have both parents, and I have siblings that look up to me as inspiration. So like that is what really,
that's what really, I guess, helped you overcome, maybe the sadness and the experience of the trauma that you experienced. And I would say your parents getting divorced was also part of that, right? I mean, but
yes.
can I ask you, I felt like I you told me, yes, you did. I was thinking I read it, but I think you told me that you also did get therapy, right? I don't know if you just
Oh, of
mentioned it.
course.
Yeah, yeah. So your
Yes.
mother, I think it was, felt that you needed to kind of work out what you saw and what you experienced as a very young person. You were very young, like 6. Were you 6 or 7?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what did you learn in therapy? Because this is important. So many people today are suffering from horrible losses and things happening in the world. Maybe it's not gun violence, but it was gun violence, right? That you
Correct.
saw, that you experienced of a friend, right? A close friend that died. So what did you learn in therapy or experience in therapy that helped you move forward rather than, stay in the suffering mode?
I believe it was just the fact that it was someone that I thought, well, yeah, going to like professional therapy, even though I didn't really necessarily know what therapy was, but knowing that I could go to a person and they say they won't share with anybody else, it was like a comfort zone where they give you like your favorite toys and it puts you in a relaxing state. Like
Yeah.
me with drawing, but while they was having a notebook without me actually noticing, but I felt like it was a safe space. And what really helped me as well, it made me speak a lot louder and not always be to myself. And I would definitely say I wasn't always, especially me being an adult right now, and even like through high school, I wasn't always necessarily the one that's speaking up all the time. Like I like to say to myself. So I would like to say therapy, what really helped me a lot is that there was a lot of methods like meditating,
Mhm.
taking deep breaths, all of those vital things that I didn't necessarily think that was important at the time, but it was repetition. So they enrolled me, so I have to do it in a way. But I didn't, little did I know, it was really beneficial. So it really, that does plays a huge role, and it does like that's what you hear me speak and things like that. How I can be relaxed and just always see the bigger picture in the long run because like it is way bigger than what it is. Like it's always so.
Well, you're very fortunate in that you did have the support that you needed. And I think a lot of people go through all kinds of traumas in life and they don't get the support earlier enough and they suffer and they suffer. You obviously got some really good help. And I'm sure also the help of your siblings and your family, the love of your family. And so you were able to move on. Is that the secret? Moving on from whatever you go through? Like everybody suffers. I mean, maybe they didn't go through what you've been through, but is it to move past the horrors of, or the problems, the challenges of life?
Correct. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I see in you. I did also want to mention that you actually, this is kind of how I met you, was you applied to be part of the Peace Studios Artist as Catalyst program a couple of months ago. And you were accepted. They were looking for the brightest, the most talented young artists aged 18 to 26 in South Florida. And not just because of their talent, their immense talent, but also because they wanted to make a difference. They wanted to create, what did I read? I remember create great art, right? And make a difference in the world and make a good living too. Because, this thing about artists struggling, it just doesn't work necessarily anymore. Artists do have to make a living like everybody else, right? So you applied and you got in and you participated for 2 days. Can you tell me a little bit about what you learned from the 2-day program? And again, you were there among some of the most talented young people, not just visual artists, what it was singers and writers and what else? All kinds of artists, right? Actors. Yeah.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway that I got from it, I really enjoyed being around like-minded individuals. So I always enjoy having high level conversations. Me personally, I feel like I don't have enough high level conversations with people, but I have my accountability partner. But having the ability to connect with those individuals and build long lasting relationships that build way beyond that 2-day workshop was just super priceless. And another takeaway that I got from the workshop as well is that everybody provides value. It's not like somebody always taking. It's like everybody got something unique that they can offer. So that's what I appreciate about the Peace Studio.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, because it is quite a group. The founders of it, and I've been involved with it for the last couple of years. I think something like that as a board member. But we never had a program like this before. The one that you participated. This was the first one. So, and it was closed to anybody but all of you, the young artists and the facilitators. That was it. We weren't able to go in, but I did get to go to the celebration for 2 nights, and that's where we met. I got to meet you and talk with you, and I was just so moved, by meeting you. And then you showed me your art, and you also said to me, I'm an entrepreneur. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, how you see yourself as an artist / entrepreneur, right? Kind of like a
Yes.
business person, and your art, which is good.
Yes.
So how did you come to this idea, and how do you do that?
Great. It started in like high school. I always knew that deep down inside, I definitely would say like middle school, when I noticed that I was do repetition, getting good at art. And I just knew that I wanted to work with a corporation or whatever, anything to do with art. But most importantly, instead of being a typical artist that just showcased the artwork in the exhibit, I just knew deep down inside, I wanted to be a household name. Like my first name, Zion, and my last name, Rozier. Like I am a household brand. So like it started like in high school, where I had my artwork. I would always get on the bus with my artwork showing of my latest project. So there was one teacher in if I'm not mistaken, my Spanish teacher was like, "It was Zion. I would love to see that on a t-shirt." So I made my design. It was very traditional, old school, that I put like paper and I ironed it on a t-shirt. And in high school, people knew me as the art kid and also a person that gave motivation videos. That's a whole nother story right there, which I'd be more than happy to inform you guys about. But it was just a cycle, a chain reaction. Like, oh, Zion, I need that. Even high school students, I didn't even necessarily think they had the funds. They're like, it don't matter how much it costs. I want to support because I see vision. So that was the idea of me being an entrepreneur. It just started with me putting my artwork on t-shirts and knowing that in the long run that I am a brand and I could develop and thrive in this society now.
That's beautiful, Zion. And it's very impressive to see it. All people have to do is look you up, right? Under zionrozier.com, right? I looked you up,
Yes.
Of course. Yeah, I went to your site, and I also saw some articles written about you in various magazines, and you're already on your way, aren't you? I think that we're just about out of time, but I did want to say, if there was a message that you could give to people, and maybe even especially young people, to, as far as what's going on in the world and all the violence and all of the anger. And as an artist, artists tend to be visionary thinkers, and they do it a lot better, I think, than others. So what message would you give to people? What is it that we can do to create some really benevolent, powerful change in the world?
I really believe it's just start with your why. Like, not what you do, it's why you do it. And once you find an answer, take time out to sit down, take time out, meditate, and really get to know who you are as an individual. And literally, like, for me personally, like how you asked about my story, like, I get choked up at times speaking about it as well. But I know this it's a part, and it's like I gotta get comfortable saying it, even like it get me teary now. But literally, I would definitely say if your why make you cry, you're on the right path. So to all my emerging artists, all my artists that look up to me as an inspiration, I'm super appreciative. But really, it's simple and cliche. But once I had to really sit down and figure out what I wanted to do and how I want to do it, the hardest part, without me judging myself, was finding out my why I create the art I create.
So that's the answer is keep going and finding out your why you do what you do. And you even said meditate, look within. What else did I learn from you? I learned a lot from you tonight, Zion. Connect with others. That's very important, right? You said community.
Right.
A lot of very powerful messages. And I have the feeling, Zion, that there's going to be a lot more to come from you, and more people will begin to know you a lot more, or already knowing you. And I wanted to add one more thing about you. Your friendliness and your warmth is because I did get to meet you in a gathering of a lot of people, and you have no shyness, right? No feeling. You connect with people no matter who they are, what they do. You're everybody's friend, and that's a very beautiful thing, Zion. It really is. And I thank you so much for taking the time. I know you also work with kids, right? You do art classes with young people, and
Right.
you're doing a lot of different things. You're doing your art, and you're just really involved. So nice to meet you, Zion. So nice to get to be with you. And I want to thank, we're going to see some more artwork. And as we close, I also want to thank our technical director, Mita, who works on the program just about every single time that we do the program, every other week. Conversations with Friends, and then every other week, Craig does it, and she works on that as well. And so thank you, Mita. And you want to say a couple of things about this?
Basically, it's about my theme about being an entrepreneur. This one right here is actually a self-portrait drawn of me and my godmom when I used to have hair. I recently cut it off, but I had dreads in my hair at one point. But the whole message behind this is like, I really enjoy reading a book to educate my mind, but the conversation me and my godmom had, the fact that technically she is an entrepreneur, and she was just telling me her own testimonies of times where things wasn't looking the best, but people always looked out for her. And the fact that she could provide value by creating a hairstyle for somebody, make somebody else's self-esteem go through the roof, it was just providing value. So I resonated with that, and that's my inspiration behind this artwork.
I'm also seeing a very loving godmother. And also, you are just engrossed, as you say, and you look very content. And that's special. That really is. Yeah. So I want to thank you so much for joining us on Conversations with Friends, and look forward to seeing you again really soon. Take care.